Java Hangout channel. Today I'm going to show you a few Java technical interviews questions which are asked in the interview. So generally, whenever you start the interview, so they will ask, tell me about yourself. So that in this question, you have to tell brief about yourself and what is the technology stack you used, and if there are any specializations, and what are the companies you worked. Just brief within 4 to 5 minutes. Then they will start interview and they are started with what type of vulnerabilities you have fixed in your project. Then they jumped into that one. So whenever vulnerabilities comes right, so we need to refer whatever we know addressed the vulnerabilities in previous projects. In my scenario, I have fixed like SQL injection, cross-site scripting, cross-site request forgery, CSRF, like front end to back end. If any integration is there, that time we will enable. Generally, tokens and used Spring Securities built-in features to protect against such attacks. Then session fixation is there. Sensitive data exposure. This is very important thing, and the data will be encrypted while transferring from one place to another place. For that, we can use some different algorithms are there, like cryptographic. So generally, majorly, industry is using cryptographic whenever no, we are transferring data. Before transferring, it will be encrypted, and same API will use decrypt and get the data back. Like sensitive data is also there, right? So we are using different mechanisms. So you need to explain those. The second and third one is how do you improve application performance? It is very basic and no, very common questions in the more than 10 years experience guys will be asked. So here different variety of strategies included in this one, and the code optimization and backend related one, and the cache implementation, any profiling, JVM optimization kind of thing. I know here pointed out a few points like database optimization. So if any queries are there, no, that time we can optimize by using indexes instead of fetching directly from the database, which will take more time, and need to avoid n plus one query problems and the caching. So nowadays, no, with microservices, especially Java, Spring Boot is used. In the Spring Boot, Redis and EHCache. EHCache was earlier used, and nowadays when using Redis. So in the Redis, so already this is a built-in one. Just we need to add the dependencies and some annotations are there at the rate cacheable, at the rate evict cacheable. There is one more question I will explain in detail in that one. So like that we can implement caching so that it will reduce the load on database and improve the response time. Instead of going to database, it will fetch the from the cache itself and asynchronous processing. This is also a major concept. Instead of using the synchronous for all the places, according to requirement, if it suits asynchronous, then we need to implement that asynchronous calls. So to implement that one, there are several different tools are there, like RabbitMQ is there nowadays. Kafka is the major one. Take that example Kafka and explain a complete architecture, how it is there and how it works. If more questions are there, then you can drag or else cut there itself. Okay, so profiling. So we need to understand how the our application is performing before going to the production. So there are tools like JProfiler. JProfiler is the mostly used one. So where we can see like we can find out the CPU utilization or else memory leakage or database related one. All the things we can monitor, and if anything are there, we can fix them. So you can explain that one. Lazy loading. So lazy and early, right? Early in the sense whenever application starts that time itself without using that all data or anything, right? Creating object or loading the data from database kind of thing. So instead of that, we can use lazy loading so that whenever we required that time only data will be loaded, not before that. So these are the things we need to mention. Apart from the a few things, if you know, you can add them. Fourth question is how do you convert business requirements into design? What are the things we need to consider majorly? So that from starting requirement, how we'll consider what are the things he's asking. So first, what we need to do, we have to understand the complete requirement by putting ourselves into the customer shoes so that we can feel that one what they are expecting exactly. So in this process, we have to connect with the stakeholders and business analyst if it's their product owners to get the more information to clear understanding purpose. Once that is done, we have to define the functional and the non-functional requirements. Like functional in the sense, what are the features we are going to implement, deliver the things, and for that, user stories we will be creating different thing as a methodology. Once that is done, the right non-functional requirement also you have to define, like how the scalability we are going to implement with that particular project or requirement, and the performance related one. Scalability in the sense, so no, if we see whenever we application is up and running in the production, sometimes in a day, sometimes a request will be more, load will be more on the application, sometimes it will go. So how do, so in that case, it should not give the response lately. Like it should not be slow, low latency, right? It should not be responding lately. So to address that one, we need to do auto scaling kind of thing, right? In the whenever we use on premises kind of or else a cloud based load is there, load is there, load is more, then automatically it will add the instances. Whenever load is less, then automatically reduce the instances. That mechanism we have to consider while implementing this non-functional requirements. So then, based on that, design patterns also. For example, different design patterns are there, right? A singleton design pattern, necessarily creating objects. So if requirement is there, only one object is required, then we can implement a singleton factory design pattern, MVC design pattern, like a proxy design pattern. Different design patterns are there. We have to analyze and utilize them according to requirement. So once that is done, then tech stack, architecture also. Which architecture is suitable? Nowadays, wherever you 99% projects are using microservices with the different, languages. Beauty is with the microservices. The one microservice no, is targeted for one use case, and that should be independently developed and independently deployable. So in this case, we can use different no languages for different microservices, different databases based on their nature of service. So these are the things. That's why these microservices are polyglot by default, right? Nature. Then once we choose the technology stack, we define the finalize the technology stack. Then we have to see for scalability and performance. As I told you, right? That should be like a container related one. We need to use the containers and Docker or else a container orchestration purpose. Kubernetes are there. So these things. Then security, which is most important one, right? Authentication and authorization. First, we need to authenticate who is accessing that one. Authorization, what functionalities should be given to him. Those things. Like for this purpose, we can use Spring Boot or else any third-party tools like ForgeRack. Tool is there which provides different modules like OpenAM, that is access management, which will provide the different patterns like OAuth 2.0 and OIDC, Open Connect ID. then uh, then 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 uh, uh, then then then